I welcome all of you. I'm going to begin in pose of awareness. So if that appeals to you to get started into that right now, please do so. You just want to make certain that your feet are hip distance apart before you even lie back. And then ease on down to your ribs, shoulders, and head. We'll just take a breath here. And I'll take my palms and I'm going to put my palms on my thigh bones and just lightly press my palms into my thigh bones to help lengthen my trunk a little bit longer. Just try to create a little more height for myself or length from hips to crown. And then let the arms relax. And then gently, if you would, let your arms reach up to the sky and feel a heaviness in the backs of the shoulders and the ribs. And let the arms cross left over right. And just let the arms drape onto your rib cage. And just be inviting the backs of your shoulders and ribs to come heavy to the mat. And as you're here, take a long breath in through the nose and imagine that the breath can come down the throat. Another deep breath, and can you move the breath down the throat and into those back lungs and ribs, really feeling them expand into the mat as you inhale, and then soften and float into the mat as you exhale. Can you breathe down a little lower next time? Maybe trying to breathe towards your navel or your hips. And just let that breath start to move slowly, deeply, but giving you a sense of awareness as the breath is flowing through you. You can really feel the breath at the nostrils or in the throat. You can feel that slight buoyancy on the back, lungs, and ribs. You might notice that you can really breathe into your lower rib cage. I often find that I can be holding some tension there. And then breathing down into the belly and feeling that the body just softens and relaxes. And let your arms release and just drop your arms to the side. I'm going to think about lengthening my throat, so the front of me, as well as lengthening the back of my neck. And just let the eyes remain closed for a few moments as you work with that breath, inviting body and breath to arrive onto your mat in your practice. And as you've arrived, you start to cultivate a sense of stillness so that the body becomes still and the mind can start to follow suit. Let your ears be listening to whatever sound you hear around you. It might be the sound of cars going by, or maybe birds in a tree. But you hear the sounds and you identify them. But then that's it. Let the same happen for any thoughts that come to you. You can identify the thought and just let it be. as we move through our practice, always take a moment to find the same level of stillness and quiet as you come into the pose. So, releasing the need to rush or keep a fast pace. Instead, just starting to move slowly with the intention of cultivating a moment's pause and really savoring that. And when you're ready, let your left leg lengthen and stretch out long and away from you. And gently let the right arm reach up to the sky. And then slowly let it lengthen long towards your head. Just maybe lengthening, maybe a little bit in front of the face or a little bit around the ear. But just a nice long lengthening stretch. And then bring the right arm back into place and let the left knee bend. And then slide out the right leg, left arm rising, and it just lengthens and floats back. Nice long lengthening stretch. And then bring it in. I'm going to repeat. I'm going to slowly take out my left leg. And I'm thinking about how I started. When I started, I pressed my hands to my thigh bones to create length in my trunk. Here, I'm just intentionally lengthening from my hip to my left foot. Bring up that right arm and let that right arm be your lengthening reach now as you stretch it towards your head and beyond. And then again, bring the right arm in and the left leg in. And just stretch out the right leg. And again, linger here for a few moments. A nice long lengthening stretch. And then take up the left arm. Everything's nice and long as you reach. And then bring in the left arm and that right knee. I'll let my left leg go out again, but this time change and gently bring the right knee towards the chest. You could hold on at the kneecap or the shin bone. And then let the right leg out and just ease up the left. As I'm moving, I start slowly. I maybe just make it to my kneecap to hold. I'll change sides. And maybe this time I can slide my hands a little bit below the knee. And again, change. And as you exhale, bring in that knee. So maybe really focus on the exhalation of drawing the navel inward to you. Inhale, the leg goes out. And exhale, draw on the navel, hug that knee, maybe reaching the hands lower down the shin. One more time, inhaling out. And then exhale, draw it in, and a nice engagement. I'll put my left foot on the floor and just let my right knee come into me, straighten it upward to the sky and lower it towards the earth, and bend the knee back in and stretch it up to the sky and lower it back. Beautiful. I just bend, straighten, lengthen, and lower. So it looks a little bit elliptical in its shape. Not quite a circle, but more elliptical in nature. And I'm going to keep my right leg down and out. Could you reverse and take a straight leg up? Bend in your knee, push out. Bring the leg up, bend in the knee, push it out nice and long. As I'm working, I'm trying to keep my pelvis fairly neutral or stable, as well as my shoulders and ribs. Next time the leg's up, let's just hold it to the sky. Let your hands hold maybe behind the thigh. Maybe you're a little more flexible. It could be behind the calf or at the big toe. Think about the back of the hips being heavy to the mat. Just point and flex that right foot for a few times. And then let that right knee bend. I'm going to continue to hold behind my right thigh, and I'm going to slowly slide out the left leg. And just again, point and flex the right foot. And then let the toes point and circle the foot at one direction. And then reverse the circling of the foot. And then just relax it. And I'm going to take my hands back to that kneecap. And as I'm here, I'll start to exhale and work more with the Yoga Bandha, drawing the navel inward and upward to my heart. If it gets to be more than is comfortable for me in my back, I could always bend my left knee a little bit, soften it, and put the foot on the floor. And as I exhale, I'm going to draw my right knee into me a little bit deeper, a little stronger of the bandha, and I'm thinking about my right thigh bone coming heavy onto my rib cage. And I'll do one more breath, and this time as I exhale, I'll draw on that navel and roll up my head, neck, shoulders, and chest. And just take a nice strong knee to chest. I could reach my hands and hold the sole of my foot. Maybe that works for you, maybe it doesn't. And I'm ready to let go. Leg, shoulders, ribs, and my head. And just relax for a moment. The legs could shake out. And I'll start slow and easy, bending in my left knee and my right knee. Feet are on the ground. And then I'll take that left knee towards me, straighten it to the sky, and then take it slowly, lower it down, straight to the floor, and then bend the knee in, up to the sky, lower 2 counts down. Again, think about an elliptical like shape. And then when the leg is down, change your direction, bring it up, bend the knee to you, and push the heel out. Again, elliptical in nature. And it's not just that this would kind of replicate the action of a bicycle, it actually is just how we move our leg in that hip joint. I'm going to bring the leg up and let it stay up. I'm going to hold on behind the thigh and just take a nice long stretch for a moment. You might notice if there's a difference between the right side and left. Deep breath. I'll let my left knee bend and I'll slowly stretch out my right leg and let that foot just point and flex. And then next time you point, circle the foot at the ankle and reverse it. And then relax it and let your hands hold the kneecap. So again, knee to chest pose. It's intentional. You're really cultivating energy, prana, in the navel area. So you take that breath, exhale, draw on the navel, and you start to really energize that space. And you'll start to find your hands can move, maybe down along the path of the shin, and your thigh bone gets a little bit heavier, a little bit closer to the rib cage. Take another breath. Exhale, draw on the navel, hug in a little more deeply. Another breath. Exhaling, lengthen the head and neck, roll up. Where can you hold? So again, I flex my foot and I try to really draw this leg into me. There's 3 breaths. And then when you inhale, let go. Your ribs, your shoulders, your head comes down, the legs go out. Let both legs shake out a little bit. And then gently let the knees bend with feet on the floor. Take up the right knee, and this time as you hold the kneecap, just make a gentle circle. So I'm moving my thigh bone in my hip joint. I'm going to reverse my right knee. And this time as I bring it to center, I'll let it open to the right a bit and then bring my left hand to hold it and just cross it left a bit. Let it open right a bit, cross left a bit. Last time right, last time left. I'm bringing it center, and I'll put my right ankle up on my left thigh and just start to move into the eye of the needle. Remember, if you'd like, you can stay exactly as you are, keeping your left foot on the floor and your arms resting at your side. Next choice is, if you wish, lifting off that left foot. And then lots of arm choices. You could wrap around the legs, hold on behind the left thigh, or thread the right arm under the right leg and the left arm on top of it. Let your left foot be relaxed, so it just kind of drops as if it could drop to the floor. And can you bring a sense of balance across your hips? And then begin to cultivate the stillness. And then lower the left foot and the right foot. Let both legs lengthen and stretch out long for a moment. And let both feet point and flex and point and flex, point, and then flex and feet on the ground. And here we go. Left ankle. Take that left knee up, excuse me. And at first, just hold at the kneecap and small circling. And then reverse it. And then change so that the knee opens left. And then my right hand draws it a little bit right. It's a very small motion. I don't want to lose the balance across my hips and thinking about my hips just being nicely balanced to the floor. And then I'm center, and I'll put left ankle, right thigh. Remember the choice of remaining right where you are. Only if you wish, lifting off right foot, threading the needle any way you'd like to take the arms, letting the right foot be heavy. It's just kind of draping downward. And then let the right foot come down, the left foot relax, the arms relax, and legs going out. I'm going to flex my feet and imagine that someone with strong but safe hands took hold of my ankle bones and is really drawing my ankles away from my hips, away from the crown of my head. And then I'll change and I'll let my toes point, and I'm thinking about my toes coming almost to touch the floor. And then flex the feet again, and there's that person with those strong but safe hands lengthening my legs long and away from me. And then I'll slowly bend my knees, feet on the floor, and take a roll to one side. I'm going to come up to hands and knees and just take a soft, easy tabletop for a moment. I just want to be comfortable as I get here, but I'm going to stay in my hips. First time I do this, my knees are straight underneath their hips. I'm going to keep my bottom up in the air and just fold my trunk towards the floor. Hands can stack to make a pillow for my forehead, or my forehead might rest comfortably on the floor. I could just be soft with my elbows bent on the floor. If you could, take a slow, deep breath towards your hips, feeling a nice long lengthening stretch through your torso. And just aiming that breath then down deep to the pelvis. And I'm going to start to move into my shoulders. For my upper body, I'm putting down my elbow points right beside my head. They're on the floor, and I'll bring my palms together in a prayer-like position. My fingers are going to the sky. So it's a downward puppy, and he's a downward puppy / angel. He's a very good little puppy. And then just as you breathe and hold here. You're inviting an opening around the underarms. Again, the ability to move your breath anywhere and everywhere. And then let those hands release. I'm going to ease my trunk up a little bit. Just let my hands and fingers reach to the top corners of the mat. And then gently let my ribs fold forward and through. And again, I've got my forehead to the mat, and I'm trying to keep my forearms off the mat. But watch your shoulders, because if it's at all of a tweak into the shoulders, I let my forearms come down. Then slowly let your hands start to inch back. You're just going to kind of walk back with those hands, elbows. Let your hips come down to your feet. You're coming into a very soft child's pose. My hands could stack, make a pillow for my forehead. Or maybe I'm able to rest my arms beside my legs and thighs with my palms facing skyward. You may find that even though you don't necessarily fold deeply with your ribs and thigh bones coming together, typically after that kind of warm up, you really were able to get closer, ribs resting on thighs. And then slowly slide out the hands. We'll transition up to hands and knees. Again, I'll just stay with my hips for a moment and let my knees bend in and out. Just a light, easy movement. And then let that right leg go back. And if you would, curl under the toes, let them touch the mat. And then I'm going to lightly try to press my right heel downward towards the floor. So I get a little bit of a stretch into my calf. And then release it. And let the left knee move in and out a few times, just getting comfortable with it. Lengthening the head, neck, shoulders, and trunk. And then keep the left leg back, toes curled to the mat. And gently try to press the heel downward. And then let it come center. And if you would, just curl under your toes for a moment. Lift your hips and take a downward dog. And notice how your body feels. Light bending and straightening one leg and then the other. And we'll ask us all just to try and be still and quiet for a moment and let your breath flow through the body, and with it, your body awareness. And do you feel long and open and expansive in all parts of the body? Do any parts of the body feel like they have a little congestion or traffic? And can you start to move the breath into any part of you that feels at all congested? And then soften down the knees, and let's work with a cat and a cow. Inhale, tilting up, lifting the heart, the eyes, the tailbone, and we exhale, draw under and round the back. Again, you keep that going into the cow. Exhale, tucking under with the cat. Keeping that going. And the next time you exhale and round, could you please go into that downward facing dog again? Just get comfortable with it. And again, I'm inviting you to let your breath move through the body and your body awareness with it. And you just have this sense to all parts of me, feel like an open freeway. Is any part of me feeling congested? Beautiful. And then again, just soften your knees, come into a child's pose. Lucky us, I have to change a battery, and I'll be right back. And one more time, if you would, just take a nice, easy breath, rising up to hands and knees in cat and cow, third and final time. And you just do it about 3 times. And on your third one, as you exhale, curl under the toes, lift the hips, and go back into downward dog. You can play with the feet a little bit. You can play with some movement in the hips, feeling your legs are just opening. And again, as you come still and you take the breath, do all parts of you just feel open and expansive? Any part congested? Could you have the intention of moving your breath into those areas that might feel congested to help liberate them? And next time you exhale, ease yourself down. I'm going to stay on my left hand and let my right arm thread under my left. Really outreach that right arm. You're coming down to rest on your right shoulder, and you can press into your left palm to give you support. There's no pressure or tension in the neck or head. If it's comfortable, the left hand can just kind of inch up towards the top left corner of the mat. And then the same left fingers, left hand can kind of ease towards the top right corner of the mat. These are ways to create the rotation that are a little more subtle. Bring that left hand back where it was when we began. You're going to press to it. And then slowly unwind. I'm going to stay on my left hand and my left knee and let my right leg cross behind me and over to my left. Right hand's at the right hip. Let the hips open to the right wall. Could the right arm reach up to the sky? Beautiful. And then gently release. There we go. Let the left arm come under the right. Really outreach it. Nice long lengthening stretch, and there's no tension on the shoulders or neck. Right hand can hold here or walk towards the top of the mat, right corner. It could cross over to the left of you a bit. The chest is opening. And then let your right hand come back to where it began, and you're going to press into it so it provides support, and then unwind. Please stand on right hand, right knee. Let the left leg cross right, excuse me. Left hand's at the hip. I'm going to rotate left. Let that left arm reach up to the sky. Nice long lengthening stretch. Beautiful. And then gently ease yourself down. Could you come onto elbows and forearms this time and let your knees walk back? Shins walking back. And then curl under the toes and really firm the right leg. Firm the left one. Feel that you're active into the buttock and the abdomen. Your elbows are under your shoulders. You're going to lengthen the head and neck. Really beware that the head is not dropping. And then soften the knees and let those elbows and hands walk back and return to a nice long child's pose with the arms lengthening forward. And then inhale, bring those arms up, bring your hips up. Could you come to hands and knees and then come to a high plank? One leg back, again, firm it. Second leg, firm arms, shoulders soft and away from the ears, neck and head long. Let the knees soften, draw back the hips, take that lengthening child's pose stretch. As you walk hand over hand to your right, just let both arms lengthen to the right side of you, feeling a nice long stretch through the left side ribs. And then walking center, take them left. Same thing, lengthen, stretch, and reach. I'll walk back to my center, come up to hands and knees. One last time in high plank. take back one leg at a time and feel firm in the arms, firm in the one leg, firm in the second, nice and long as you hold. As you inhale, lower the knees. As you exhale, draw back, long child's pose. Inhale up to hands and knees. Exhaling, downward facing dog. Inhale into the knees. Exhale, firming the body into a strong plank. Inhaling to the knees. Exhaling, long child's pose. Final time up. Exhaling, downward dog. Inhaling to the knees. Exhale, firming the body into your plank. And a final time as you inhale down to the knees and back into a long child's pose. Let yourself just lengthen as you come forward and come out to rest on the abdomen. Let your hands come in right underneath your shoulders, elbows snug to your frame. Lengthen the legs, the feet. Think of the pubic bone and let it come into the floor. And then slowly lengthen and lift head, shoulders, chest, popping up to the forearms as you hold in a sphinx. And then slowly let the trunk lengthen and come down. So the first time I do this, I'm going to roll onto my left arm, my left side. My legs go up nice and long. And then I'll just let my right leg lengthen long. It's going to be a little bit behind my left foot. And then slowly inhale to bring the leg up and exhale to float it down. Think about really lengthening as you go. And can you keep your waistline a little bit narrowed? Again, keeping it firm around the midsection of the body. Let the leg rise and hold. Could you balance and put that top hand on the top leg? Could it reach long past your ears? And again, watch that your head and neck are nice and long and you maintain this nice long sense of balance. And then gently bring that down. I'm going to stay with this sense of balance and let my top knee bend. I'm going to flex my foot and rest it somewhere on the path of my bottom leg. I could rest it at my ankle, on the leg itself, or slide it up towards the top of my thigh. If I choose my thigh, I'm going to really press that heel into my thigh and let that top hand come and just gently support opening. It's a tree pose. How is your balance? For the top arm reach long. Think about being long on both the left side of the waistline that's on the bottom and the right side of the waistline on top. And then gently release the arm. And then gently release the leg. And I'll just roll myself over to my other side. Please be comfortable. You're going to be resting on your right thigh, your right hip. You can let that right arm lengthen out nice and long. Stack the legs before you begin and take the top foot a little bit behind the bottom and 3 times. Inhale up and exhale down. So as I'm working on keeping my head and neck long, keeping my trunk long, keeping my waistline firm. I'll bring it up to hold. So the top arm come overhead. Everything long, especially through the waist. And then bring down the arm, bring down the leg. Again, just staying here, coming into this very quiet or more passive tree pose. So I flexed up this foot. Remember, I could stop it at my ankle, leg, or thigh. I would really press the heel into the thigh if that's where I've placed it. I want to feel nice and long and strong for my trunk, and then I'm finding my balance. Left hand could just support that knee and opening, and then can you take both arms long and overhead? And then float it on down. And as you let this go, please be comfortable, but you'll lie down on your abdomen. So we did the single legged side lying locust. We'll come into the abdominal resting one. So let both legs go back nice and long. Feel the hips and pubic bone coming down to the mat and stack palm on palm for support. Your left leg is your anchor. Firm it. And then let the right leg lengthen. And as you inhale, lengthen and lift it skyward. Exhale to lower it. Inhale, right leg. And lower. Right leg. Lower, lift the right leg. Hold and balance. And float it down. And relax. Right leg's heavy to the mat. Left leg long. Everything firm as you inhale to lift. Exhale to lower. And to lift. And to lower. Lift it, please, and hold. And then gently release. Now relax through my hips, my legs, and my thighs, and I'll come back to a Sphinx pose again. So position hands under shoulders and gently bring yourself up. Elbows right under the shoulders, shoulder blades soften and melt down the back. Very comfortable as you hold. And then lengthen and let your trunk come down. So this afternoon, a little bit different. I'm going to rest on my left side first. Take my right heel to my buttocks. So can my hand hold my foot? And if the answer is no, stop and make certain you strap it so it's comfortable for you. You can sometimes, too, just hold on to the bottom of your legging. And then slowly lengthen that right thigh and return to your abdomen. Let's just think about that right thigh lengthening, holding the foot a bit more in a flex position. Could your left hand reach out long in front of you? Then as I inhale, can I gently drop my head and shoulders and chest, be comfortable in the shoulder area? Good, my left foot come off the floor to balance my left arm. And remember, if you prefer, you could keep hand and leg to the mat. And then gently release it all. And let go. And your legs could shake out a bit. I'm going to roll to my right side. And again, it's left heel to buttock. And as I take my left heel to my buttock, can I hold comfortably? Do I need a strap on this side, or would I be better off holding onto my leggings? Let's lengthen the left leg. Lengthen that left thigh bone as you slowly bring it down to the mat. Let the right arm reach out. Very subtle and gentle as you bring up the head and the shoulder. I want to be comfortable. Could I lift off right leg and right arm to balance? But I prefer to hold them to the mat. And then release and let that go. Let everything shake out a little bit of the legs and the hips. I'm going to take my legs wide apart with my feet kind of reaching to the outside edges of my mat. And then bend the knees and flex the feet. And could you let both of the knees and feet just tilt a little bit right and come through center and let them both tilt off a little bit left. And as I'm going right to left, I'm thinking, not quite in yoga parlance, but just contemporary talk, it's a windshield wiper, but it's on very slow motion as we go. Next time I take my knees and feet to the right, I'm going to let my head and my left shoulder just open to the left a bit. And the next time my feet are going left, I'm going to let my head turn right. One more time in each direction. And then coming to neutral, let those legs stretch out long. I'm going to take my time and just roll onto my back. Hopefully you're feeling your body is nice and long for a moment. And we'll just stop here to take a side stretch that's fully supported here by the mat. Legs are long, arms are long. Feel your trunk is long. And if you need to just kind of inch or warm away your legs a little bit, do so. Feel that you have length from hip to feet, from hips to crown. And then bend your knees and put both feet on the floor. Here we go. We're going to press to the feet, lift up the hips, shift the hips right, and put them down. Let your left foot and left leg just reach to the left corner of the mat. Beautiful. And then take your right leg over and give it a crossover. Let your arms reach up to the sky. My left hand's going to hold my right wrist. I'm not going to take my arm straight back. I'm taking it over to my left. It's as if I were doing a crescent-shaped moon pose. You can think about forming in the shape of a letter C or a banana-like shape. And just breathe deeply into the right side of the trunk. This also takes a stretch into the right hip flexor. And then I'll let my hands and arms release and I'm to neutral. And my right knee bends, foot to floor, then my left foot, and I come neutral with my hips. Just take a breath, press to your feet, lift your hips, shift them left, put them down. Take the right foot to the right corner of the mat. Left foot goes to meet it, crossing over. Arms come up to the sky, and the right hand holds the left wrist. And I'm going to reach over to my right side with that arm. So again, I'm creating the shape of a banana or a letter C. It's a beautiful crescent moon-like shape. Okay, let's release the arms. Bring the head and trunk neutral. Put down the left foot and the right foot. Let the hips come neutral. And just take a moment to be in pose of awareness, just the way you started, with shoulders soft and relaxed. Feel the shoulder blades just easily sliding down the back body towards the back of the waistline. And a natural balance across the hip points. When you're ready, just slowly roll to one side and we'll sit up for a moment. And when I'm sitting up, I want to be comfortable in my seated position, and I'll bring the soles of my feet together. Again, not going to force anything. I'm just inviting. I'm inviting my thigh bones to come heavy towards the mat, and I could hold on around my ankles or my shin bones. Let the shoulders soften, and can you take your eyes straight ahead? So you're not looking at your mat nor the floor. Everyone's looking at a piece of wall. And then slowly let both legs lengthen and stretch out. I'm going to let my hips just slide back, just a little pinch, and let my hands and my arms reach down my legs. And I just put them wherever they reach to for a gentle stretch. And then I'll let my hands walk up my legs, and I'll put my fingers on the floor behind me, and my fingers are in the direction of my hips. I'm just going to lightly press to my fingertips, lift up through my heart and my eyes, and gaze skyward. I'll bring my trunk to neutral. Let my hands come down and lift up my feet. And could you cross right ankle over the left? And just sit in a simple cross-legged pose. I'm going to let my left elbow come down and really give a bigger invitation to that left thigh to be heavy to the floor. Right hand to my kneecap. And just lengthen your trunk to the left. And could the right hand come either to the back of the head or just lengthen out nice and long in a side stretch? When I inhale and come up, my right hand's on the floor behind me, and my left hand came over to my right knee, lengthen to lift up, and gently rotate right. And then as I release, I'll let my hands walk out in front of me. So just a very gentle cross-legged forward fold. And then let your hands walk back and gently undo the legs. And again, I'll let them stretch out long. Scoot back your hips a bit and just let the hands walk down in front. Notice where they get to. Maybe they get a little farther, maybe not. Just a soft, easy stretch. And then the hands walk back, and I'm just going to put fingertips light to the floor as I lift up long through my trunk and let my heart lift and my eyes gaze skyward. And as I release down my hands and lift up my feet, I'll cross left over right and take a sit. Again, comfortable as we get here. The right elbow's heavy on the right thigh, the left hand's to the left knee. Just open the trunk. Remember, it could be hand to the head or left arm out long. Nice big stretch as you go. My left hand's coming down behind me. My right hand's coming across to my left knee. I'm going to lengthen up and rotate left. Beautiful. And then as I gently release, I'll let my hands just walk me forward, soft and easy, into a forward fold. Let the hands walk you up. And then again, I'm going to let my fingers give me support as my legs go out. And a final time, I'm scooting back my hips and just folding towards my toes. And then walk those hands up, and the fingers are light behind us. Lift up through the trunk, lift your heart, lift your eyes to gaze skyward. And as I come to neutral, my hands come down, I'll return to that cobbler's pose with the soles of my feet coming together. And my knees open. And again, I'm just going to lightly invite my thigh bones to come heavy to the floor. And then move slowly with this. And let the feet come a little bit forward and scoot the hips back a little bit more. And come into a forward fold over your cobbler's pose or bound angle forward fold. And then let the hands release. You could walk the hands on either side of your legs and thighs to bring you up, and gently let those legs stretch out long. And I'll let my feet point and flex for a moment. And then just again, position myself with feet towards the bottom of my mat and separated about hip distance apart. And then roll back down, feeling your ribs, your shoulders, and your head come to the floor. Maybe putting the palms on your thigh bones and lightly pressing into them so you lengthen through the trunk. Let the arms reach to the sky. Backs of the shoulders are heavy along with the ribs into the mat, and we're going to cross right arm over left. Let the arms drape down over your ribs. Again, feel them heavy. And just at first, really notice how the back of the skull rests to the mat and that it feels comfortable and very easily balanced. And then taking a breath, feel that your neck is long and that you can come down with your awareness to the backs of the shoulders and ribs and feel them heavy to the mat. Let the breath be your conduit to move a little deeper through the body. You might breathe at first, just feeling the breath in the nostrils. Next time, feeling the breath coming long into the throat. And then breathing deeply into the back lungs and the back ribs, feeling them expand as you inhale. And then soften and drop into the mat as you exhale. Can you breathe down lower and deeper into the abdomen, trying to relax around the lower ribs? And then breathing last time, slowly and deeply into the navel. Next time you're exhaling, just lightly let the arms go so they drop to your side. Now I'm going to keep my knees bent with my feet to floor. Focus in the upper body first. And if you could, just really have a sense of awareness at the space between your eyebrows. You might try taking a slow, deep breath there. You might also, in your mind's eye, see a beautiful beam of light emanating from it, the color blue, much the way a starlight can emanate and shine with brilliance. And then bring your awareness to the base of your throat. And same thing. You might just feel the awareness heighten. You might breathe into it, or you might imagine that beautiful blue light emanating from it. Bring your awareness to your right shoulder. And the same thing. Awareness, breath, blue light. What helps you feel more of a connection into that specific body part? Bring your awareness to the right elbow, the right wrist, and the tip of the right thumb, the first fingertip, the tip of the middle finger, tip of the ring finger, the small finger. Again, bring your breath and awareness to the right wrist. Blue light if you wish as you shift to your elbow and into your shoulder. Bring awareness back to the base of the throat. And then go to the left shoulder. A breath, awareness, a beautiful blue light, starlight. Left elbow, left wrist, tip of the left thumb, tip of the first finger, middle finger, ring finger, small finger. Awareness, breath, blue light at the left wrist, left elbow, left shoulder. Base of the throat again. Awareness, breath, blue light. Come to the heart center. The right side of the chest. The center of it. Left side of the chest. Center of the heart. The navel. A breath. Awareness. Blue light, starlight in its brilliance. Pubic bone. And back to the navel. And the heart. And the base of the throat. And the space between the eyebrows. If you wish, keep the knees bent, feet to floor. You could let the insides of the knees touch. Or if you prefer, let the legs lengthen and stretch out long. Cultivate stillness. with your next breath. Invite an intention to come to you. Something you'd like to have as your focus from now until the end of your day. It can be just a single word, a feeling, again, an intention. And just repeat it to yourself 3 times. And then slowly just let your hands start to move a bit. Maybe touching the fingers to one another. And let those hands and fingers come together, palms at the heart. And take a moment to just be in the moment. Beholding yourself and one another. Honoring and celebrating one another. Namaste. I thank you for joining this evening, and I wish you a beautiful one. That last bit is referred to as Yoga Nidra, and it has been studied. It's been in use by the U.S. military for many years. It actually helps to dissipate tension, stress. It helps to trigger the parasympathetic nervous system, which really helps to trigger healing in the body, mind, and spirit. So I thank you so much, and I wish you a beautiful evening.